The Hotel The Sober Island, located within environs of the magnificent Trincomalee harbour, is part of a selected band of properties in Sri Lanka, which is home to an island resort. The Sober Island encompasses an envious pedigree with a tapestry woven around a rich history and nostalgia. It is well documented past states that it had been a major transit camp between Europe, Far East, and Southeast Asia during the time of the British rule in Sri Lanka. The island is not merely touristic in appeal, but contain relics of a bygone era, magnifying its appeal as a much sought-after destination. Sober Island Resort is complete, unique in its design, and blessed with a pristine tropical beach, jungle, historical artifacts, and a near 360-degree views of the Trincomalee harbour from its highest point. Guests can enjoy the luxury accommodation with a World War II vintage bar and restaurant, and the adventurous could indulge in hiking, sea bathing, diving, snorkeling, adventure sport, kayaking, angling, sailing, high-speed boating, camping, or simply enjoying the solitude of this quiet hide, out amidst the lush jungle whilst listening to the chirping of the birds. A small cricket pitch built by the Britishers in early 19th century, and a tennis court is also available. Few would argue that this island resort is one of the least understated properties in Trincomalee district of the north, eastern coast of Sri Lanka. For many, it is an addictive lifestyle surrounded by the ocean and camaraderie rarely seen elsewhere. It is, in essence, the feeling of freedom which we all crave for. The restaurant and the clubhouse has not changed through the passage of time, and still retains its rustic charms even to this date, after being part of the architecture for decades. Today, the restaurant and the old clubhouse is fully refurbished and accommodates modern touches to serve its guests with traditional hospitality. The restaurant and the clubhouse has gained a considerable reputation for good food, eclectic menu, which draws strongly of local produce, and alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, coupled with excellent service, which stretches far beyond the ordinary. The resort houses 4 chalets with luxury rooms incorporating modern conveniences, all within the confines of the island resort. However, one will encounter remnants of the bygone era, whichever way one looks at it, which is in fact a good thing in this day and age. Sober Island was first occupied by the French. Admiral Jacob Blaquet de la Haye in 1672 and by Admiral Suffren in 1782. The British took over the island after the Treaty of Paris in 1784 and later developed it for their military requirements and was essentially a military establishment. However, before the British occupation of the island, the Dutch also forged a tug-of-war with the French to claim the island. The island was named as Sober, in memory of late young British Lieutenant S. Sober. As Trincomalee became the home of the British Eastern Fleet during the World War II, the British fortified the island with a battery of guns. It's written in past chronicles that Trincomalee was heavily defended against the Japanese Navy, with the help of heavy artillery batteries located on the Sober Island. Also, during the World War II, the island was a transit station for thousands of soldiers en route to Far East and the Mediterranean. The 175-acre island, elevating nearly 200 meters from the sea level, was called Île du Soleil, by French meaning Island of Sun, which was developed by Sri Lanka Navy, as per the 2 site plans drawn in 1919 and 1922. The island is not merely touristic in appeal, but contain relics of a bygone era, magnifying its appeal as a much sought-after destination. There are French graves, World War II gun positions, underground ammunition storage complexes, and many more symbols of British occupation. Location: Sober Island Resort consists of charlottes and luxury rooms, a fully functional restaurant, and a clubhouse. Sun decks set amidst a resplendent isle surrounded by the ocean. It is located within the Trincomalee harbour and can be accessed from the Sri Lanka Navy dockyard. The harbor is regarded as one of the largest natural harbors in the world. This once derelict buildings within the island are now fully refurbished and operated to the highest standard, welcoming guests since 2012. The resort today is a far cry from the days it was a colonial heirloom of the British. Its panoramic view of the harbor and small islands around it makes this a compelling destination in Trincomalee to capture a vantage point. Excursions. Things to do. Whale and dolphin watching Trincomalee is one of the few places in Sri Lanka and in the world to observe the giant mammals of the ocean. You can go on a whale and dolphin watching tour in Trincomalee, but ideally from May to October, where sightings are frequent. The Sri Lanka NAE provides whale watching on Sri Lanka's east coast in Trincomalee. Snorkeling. There is a huge coral reef near the Pigeon Island, so you can go snorkeling or diving near the reef. There are plenty of marine life there, so you can sure to get a glimpse of some beautiful fish and turtles if you are lucky. Sea bathing and sunbathing. Nillaveli Beach is the best place to do this, but there are plenty other areas with access to the beach in Trincomalee. Not all areas are safe for sea bathing, and make sure to get some local help before you go on sea bathing. Most small hotels near the beach have facilities for sunbathing. Boat ride in the bay. You can take a boat ride in the nearby bay. There isn't much to see, but it is an enjoyable experience, especially if you live in the middle of the country where you don't get much chance to go on a boat. Visit to Pulmodai. Visit the Pulmodai town and visit the ilmenite factory premises, with prior permission, and visit the Arisimalai beach. The sand is totally black with valuable minerals like ilmenite, magnetite, and rutile. Those finer sands are separated based on density difference and magnetic properties. Transportations. Trincomalee to Sober Island Resort, 4.4 kilometers. Jaffna to Trincomalee, 235 kilometers. Anuradhapura to Trincomalee, 103 kilometers. Arugambe to Trincomalee, 248 kilometers. Colombo to Trincomalee, 258 kilometers. Kandy to Trincomalee, 181 kilometers. The boat traveling times. Arrival time to Sober Island Resort, 1,400 hours, 1,600 hours, 1,800 hours. Departure. Time. From Sober Island Resort, 800 hours, 1,000 hours.